Poehler has built a podcast that's basically a magnet for A-list celebrities, yet there's one legendary star she jokingly refuses to invite. And the reason is downright hilarious. On her show, Good Hang, Poehler admitted she's too scared to have Martha Stewart on. And hearing why will have you laughing. With her quick wit and playful storytelling, Poehler sets the stage for a conversation that's equal parts admiration and comedic chaos. Give us a peek behind the curtain at what it's like to joke about one of the most iconic figures in pop culture. But what exactly makes Martha Stewart so intimidating, even to a comedy veteran like Poehler? That's where the story gets really fun. The reason for Poehler's fear isn't some scary story. It's pure comedy gold. During a recent episode of Good Hang, she joked that inviting Martha Stewart would be too intimidating, thanks to years of perfectly timed SNL impressions that have captured every nuance of Stewart's personality. Poehler wasn't alone in this playful dread. Fellow SNL alum Anna Gasteyer joined the conversation, sharing in the mix of admiration and amusement. Both actresses reflected on just how precise you have to be to pull off a Stewart impersonation. The barely there smile, the careful way she moves her lips, the way every gesture is calculated for the camera. Even seasoned comedians can get a little tongue-tied when facing the real-life inspiration behind their jokes. And yet, this mix of fear and respect is exactly what makes their stories so entertaining. But that's just the beginning of their hilarious dissection of Martha Stewart's unmistakable style. Poehler and Gasteyer didn't just joke about being intimidated, they dove deep into what makes Martha Stewart so endlessly entertaining to impersonate. According to the duo, the secret lies in Stewart's famously still demeanor. "It's a barely moving mouth," Poehler explained, as they laughed about trying to mimic every subtle shift in her expression. Gasteyer added that Stewart is acutely aware of how she looks on camera, which makes capturing her mannerisms both a challenge and a comedy goldmine. The pair even imagined themselves preparing a Christmas meal while barely moving a muscle. "Barely nothing's going to move," Poehler quipped, turning the quiet precision of Stewart's style into a full-blown comedic exercise. This behind-the-scenes peek shows just how much thought goes into their impersonations, and it's exactly what makes the jokes land so perfectly. But while they're dissecting Stewart's iconic moves, the conversation takes a turn into even wilder territory. Next, the jokes about Martha Stewart on Good Hang don't stop with Poehler and Gasteyer's impressions. Earlier in the year, comedian Cole Escola joined the podcast and took the humor to another level, sharing his unusual admiration for the culinary icon. Escola joked about serving Martha her last bite of cold mashed potatoes at a dream dinner party, a wildly absurd image that had everyone laughing. Poehler couldn't resist riffing on the scenario, imagining Stewart's understated response, a simple, cold. These moments highlight the playful balance Poehler strikes between outrageous comedy and genuine respect, keeping listeners hooked with unexpected twists. And while these anecdotes are hilarious on their own, the story of Stewart and her impersonators doesn't end there. Martha Stewart herself has weighed in on the endless stream of SNL impersonations, and her reactions are just as entertaining as the sketches. During a January appearance on The Tonight Show, starring Jimmy Fallon, Stewart was asked about the 9 times she had been impersonated by former and current cast members, including Poehler, Gasteyer, Kristen Wiig, Kate McKinnon, Rachel Dratch, and guest hosts like Janine Garofalo and David Spade. Rather than taking offense, Stewart shared a playful admiration for the portrayals, even pointing out that Spade, in character, wore her actual poncho, something she fondly recalled as her favorite impersonation. Her measured yet humorous response shows that Stewart is in on the joke, turning what could be intimidating into yet another layer of comedy. And while Stewart seems unbothered, Poehler and her fellow comedians still tread carefully when bringing her into their sketches. Even amid the jokes and impersonations, Poehler and Gasteyer make it clear that their humor comes from a place of genuine admiration. Both actresses are openly obsessed with Martha Stewart, marveling at her precision, charisma, and the way she commands attention without even trying. Their playful fear of inviting her onto Good Hang isn't about disrespect. It's a mix of reverence and comedic caution, acknowledging that Stewart's real-life presence is every bit as striking as her on-screen persona. This balance between teasing and respect is what gives their comedy its charm. It's sharp, but it never feels mean-spirited. And it's also what keeps listeners coming back, curious to hear just how far these playful explorations of Stewart's character will go. But the story of Martha's influence doesn't stop there. Martha Stewart has become more than just a celebrity. She's a comedic legend in her own right. Over the years, countless SNL cast members have tried their hand at impersonating her, each bringing their own twist while capturing the essence of her iconic mannerisms. From Poehler and Gasteyer to Wig, McKinnon, and even guest hosts, Stewart's still calculated presence makes her the perfect muse for comedy. Every raised eyebrow, every barely there smile, and every deliberate pause is an opportunity for laughter, turning her into a beloved source of inspiration for comedians. It's this combination of precision and personality that makes Stewart endlessly fascinating to mimic, and why her influence continues to echo through sketches and podcasts alike. And as much as these impersonations entertain, the real fun is in the stories behind the jokes. Teat! Amy Poehler's playful fear of inviting Martha Stewart onto Good Hang might seem surprising at first, but it perfectly captures the mix of admiration, respect, and comedy that defines their relationship. From dissecting Stewart's iconic stillness to sharing outrageous podcast moments and hearing Stewart's own reactions to SNL impersonations, the story is full of humor and insight. Poehler and her fellow comedians have found a way to celebrate Stewart's larger-than-life presence while keeping audiences laughing along the way. It's a reminder that even the most intimidating figures can inspire joy, creativity, and endless comedy, sometimes from a safe, humorous distance. And while Martha Stewart might never appear on the podcast herself, listeners are left with the perfect combination of laughter, curiosity, and admiration for one of pop culture's most fascinating icons. If you loved this peek behind the laughs, don't miss out on more celebrity stories, hilarious podcast moments, and unexpected insights. Hit subscribe and turn on notifications so you're the first to catch every funny, shocking, and unforgettable moment. Join the conversation and keep the laughter going.